I want to talk to you about a talk I recently heard by a former senior Israeli government official. He confidently said to the whole hall, and I quote, "The moment Israel destroys Iran's nuclear capabilities, we'll have peace in the Middle East," end quote. I actually was the public speaker following this former senior Israeli government official, and I shared with the audience that I was quite shocked to hear that statement made, which seemed very much disconnected from our reality here in the Middle East. Let me explain. Yes, Iran is a massive threat, as its nuclear ambitions are not just a danger to Israel, but to the entire freedom-loving world. But focusing only on Iran as a danger in the region, while ignoring the other threats in our region, is short-sighted and dangerous. Yes, we must end the nuclear ambitions of Iran, but that will not bring peace to the Middle East or to the world. Let's talk about Turkey as a case in point. Turkey right now is behind much of the Sunni violence that has toppled the Assad regime in Syria. So while a weakened Syria has brought about a weakened Iran, which is great news, it has also brought about an ISIS-like state in Syria under the influence of a growing Sunni Muslim state of Turkey. Turkey's leader, Erdogan, isn't hiding his goals. He is working to restore the Ottoman Empire's dominance over the Middle East and the world to what it was before it was destroyed by the West in World War I. Turkey's ambitions do not stop at Syria or in the Muslim world. It includes reconquering Israel, right? Because they were once the empire over our ancestral homeland. That is why Turkey has been investing in subversive activities in Jerusalem for decades. And what about Egypt? Right now, Egypt is under the leadership of President al-Sisi, who's relatively friendly towards Israel, but we can't ignore that Egypt has one of the most powerful modern armies in the whole Middle East region. The Biden administration recently gave Egypt an additional $5 billion worth of tanks and weapons. What happens if tomorrow an ISIS-like Muslim Brotherhood regime topples Sisi in Egypt, just as we just saw in Syria? Do we really think that Egypt would remain a stable partner for Israel? No, it's going to be a huge threat to Israel. This is the Middle East. This isn't Europe. It's not the United States. It's a region filled with competing Muslim factions, all vying for power and all posing a threat to the Jewish state of Israel. If one regime like Iran is toppled, there are plenty of others vying to fill the vacuum of power in this region. Peace, as understood in the West, simply doesn't exist here in the Middle East. In this region, peace comes from strength and nothing else. You know, I'm a big student of Dr. Mordechai Kedar, expert on Islam in the Middle East. Quote, "To achieve short-term peace and quiet, Israel must be feared short-term. To achieve long-term peace, Israel must be feared forever." End quote from Dr. Mordechai Kedar. That's not an easy truth for many people to hear. It's uncomfortable, but it is reality. The Abraham Accords are a prime example. These aren't peace agreements in the Western sense. They're normalization agreements. They work because Israel is perceived as strong. If Israel would be perceived as weak, the Abraham Accords will collapse as quickly as they were signed. But strength, it's not just about tanks and fighter jets. Real strength comes from us, from our identity, from our history, from our connection to our ancestral homeland. Israel will only truly be strong when we act with total pride in our 3,000-year connection to our ancestral homeland. That means never being embarrassed by our history, not delegitimizing our own claims to our ancestral lands like Judea and Samaria and Jerusalem, and definitely not allowing for Muslim authorities to control our holiest sites like the Temple Mount. When Israel acts as though our biblical history is a burden, we project weakness. When we cede control of our Temple Mount to people who deny our very connection to it, we send a very bad message of weakness. But when we embrace our history and we act upon it, when we show the world that we are here because this is our eternal homeland, we project unshakable strength. And that is the strength that is then truly feared. Iran is a threat, yes, but it's just one of many threats in the region. Turkey's ambitions, Egypt's military power, and the reality of our Muslim neighbors in our region, they all remind us that survival in the Middle East requires more than just wishful thinking. Israel's future depends on understanding this reality. It depends on military deterrence, yes, but also on our pride in who we are and where we come from and where we're going. It's all connected. The world respects a nation that respects itself. If we want lasting peace and security, we must stay strong militarily, spiritually, and historically. That's the message I'm sharing with all of you today, and I hope you share it as well. Am Yisrael Chai, everyone. Stay strong, stay proud, and never forget, this ancestral homeland is our homeland, and we're here to stay. It's thanks to our history, thanks to who we are today, and the proud future we are building for the future generations of the Jewish people to be a model and a light to the nations for the whole of humanity. Signing off for another episode of the Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland. This is Avi Abelo for another Pulse of Israel. If you are not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Where else do you get a daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect truth about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We need your support in order to get our videos seen, since we are heavily shadow banned and censored across all social media. So every once in a while, just go to pulseofisrael.com and click on the donate button. In the meantime, everyone, shalom. And thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.